Right, Daniel, I'm sure Draghi will be speaking any moment from now, and we'll all ears listening to get to understand the medication he would have this time. But let's look at the DAX that you have just talked about. Again, saw that DAX come down below the 13,000 mark yesterday. So what's driving that fear factor here?
Yeah, this 13,000 point mark is, for many traders and many investors, kind of like a psychological mark. We reached this, the 13,000 point mark, not very long ago. After that, we have really seen that the DAX was struggling. It always, for example, yesterday it was going up and it was going down. It even closed under this 13,000 point mark. A reason in the last days was, again, the very strong euro currency that we were seeing. It was at about €1.18. It's going to be really interesting to see what is going to happen. When you talk to some investors, they're seeing at the end of the year the blue chip index DAX maybe at a range at about 13,400 point. Others are saying that if in the next days and weeks the blue chip index DAX doesn't get comfortable with this 13,000 point mark, we might even see falling shares, because many investors might use this for profit taking because they are not really comfortable with the situation. So it's really going to be interesting to see what is going to happen.
Right, Daniel. Let's look at the earnings reports, which, of course, have continued to drive the European markets, with the Deutsche Bank and Bayer among those reporting today. Talk us through these numbers.
We got earning reports today from different companies listed here in the blue chip index DAX, though not really that promising. Deutsche Bank, for example, they came out with numbers with more earnings than we actually thought, but on the other hand, with a fall in revenue. Deutsche Bank has this problem for a long time. They have lots of ongoing lawsuits. That's why they always have to keep a certain amount of money basically behind closed doors that they cannot use. Also, they have this discussion with their division Postbank, which they were buying. They were thinking at some point also to sell this division. Now they were telling me, because they also have an ongoing dispute with the worker unions. Now we are hearing that they actually agreed with the worker unions, which is going to mean that they're not going to fire anybody in this Postbank division, at least until 2021. But they will also have to pay them more money. So it's kind of a mixed picture right now. Because of that, we're also seeing shares of Deutsche Bank here dropping. The other company that was coming out today with numbers is Bayer. Also not that promising. Also one of the shares here at the blue chip index DAX that we saw with dropping shares today. We remember that Bayer was buying this huge, competitor Monsanto. Many people have been saying in the past that this move might be even too big, that they're spending too much money. And we are also seeing, because of that, those shares dropping. Other company that came out with news today is Münchner Rück, a huge insurance company. They're dealing, and they have many people insured also in the United States who had problems this year because of those massive hurricanes that we were seeing. Also remember that this earthquake was happening in Mexico. Because of that, they actually spent 3 billion euros more this year, which is of course not good for their quarterly report. Because of that, we're also seeing those shares dropping. Very interesting also today, Deutsche Börse, which is operating the German stock exchange, will be delivering numbers after the stock exchange is already closed. We remember that Deutsche Börse has been in the news for a long time because of the CEO Kengeter, who is being accused to have done insider trading when Deutsche Börse was thinking to get married with the London Stock Exchange. Because of that, it's going to be really interesting what is going to happen. They have a board meeting today. They will be deciding what's the future holding for Carsten Kengeter, because his contract is actually due in March 2018, and with still a trial going on, it's not really likely that there's going to be a new contract for him.
All right, thank you very much, Daniel, for those updates. Let's wait and hear what ECB Draghi has to say, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll move on now to the U.S. West Stock Index futures are expected to begin Thursday's trade on a relatively flat note as investors gear up for another slew of major corporate earnings. Corporate earnings continue to flood in with a whole host of firms set to publish their latest financial figures. Ford, Time Warner, UPS, American Airlines Group, and Twitter are just a handful set to report. Alphabet, Amazon, Intel, Microsoft, Mattel, Expedia are some of the major names set to report earnings after the bell. In data news, jobless claims and advanced economic indicators kick out the day, with both releases coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Shortly after, pending home sales will be released at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, followed by the Kansas City Fed Manufacturing Survey, which will be released at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Central banks will also be of key importance on Thursday as investors await news on the U.S. Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank. Well, those are the future numbers there. We'll move on now to Asia, where shares closed narrowly mixed in Thursday's trade, following the softer lead from Wall Street and as investors digested regional earnings releases. The Nikkei 225 edged up 0.15%. The benchmark index had snapped its 16-day win streak on Wednesday. Across the Korean Strait, the Kospi declined 0.48% as investors digested quarterly earnings reports from blue-chip names. The Australian ASX 200 reversed early losses to close up 0.18% at 5,916.3. The heavily weighted financial sub-index erased early losses to close higher by 0.08%. The Hang Seng index was off 0.34%, while mainland markets made moderate gains. The Shanghai Composite climbed 0.33% and the Shenzhen Composite gained 0.24%. And in South Africa, that country will dispose of a portion of its stake in Telkom with an option to buy it back later. Finance Minister Malusi Gigaba says Treasury is seeking to avoid breaching the expenditure ceiling due to bailouts of ailing state firms. The government holds a stake of about 39% in landline provider Telkom. According to the Finance Minister, the expenditure ceiling is threatened in the current year as a result of government's recapitalization of South Africa's Airways and the South African Post Office. We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, we'll look at the commodities market as gas production in Nigeria is set to go up 7 billion cubic feet per day.